friend the other day, I don't know, she was having some sort of like gut issues. And I said, how much fermented food do you eat? And she's like, what's that? And I was like, well, like kimchi. And she's like, never had it. I'm like, kombucha.
Soy sauce.
Never had it.
Wow.
Like
so the answer was none.
The answer was none, and just kind of, and then we went down the line where I'm like, how about a dill pickle? And she was like, oh yeah, I love those. And I'm like, okay, well that's fermented, but you're
not
probably
all pickles are really fermented though. Some of them are just
true.
Some of them is just
it depends on like how they are
how they're made.
How they're made.
Do you like Marmite?
I don't like Marmite.
Vegemite?
Too salty.
Both of those are fermented. Bottom of the barrel, literally.
No, way too salty for me.
The mistake people make with Marmite and Vegemite is like eating too much of it. It's an ingredient. You have to use it sparingly.
Well, when I was in Australia, some of the kids just boom, because they're so used to it.
Because kids too. Yeah. Kids overdo stuff a lot.
Although when I, traveling around the world, especially with backpackers, where we all try to, kind of come up with our own ways to just like feed ourselves during the day.
Yeah.
The Australians always had Vegemite in their backpack. Every time. Like whatever you get, add some Vegemite to it.
Yep.
And that was the first time that I had it, and I was like, but just why?
It's nutritious.
It's too salty. It's way too salty.
Raymond.
And it's a matter. It's a personal taste. But yeah, so my friend who doesn't like fermented food, I was like, maybe give that a try. Yogurt. So many things can just kind of like settle the tum-tum that I think people don't realize.
Well, isn't it like you're reintroducing certain floral bacteria back into your gut?
Bacteria.
Yeah.
Good day, Laminar, G. James B. Clinton Woodward got them Heights Lion Gym video. Woo-hoo. Zoe brings bacon. Raymond.
I will say my digestive distresses of my earlier years in life have gone since I cut out a lot of the junk food and stuck mostly with.
What do you think it was that you cut out that made you feel better? Like soda type stuff?
Soda, but a lot of processed foods that you tend to chow down on as a kid, like chips, and not like I don't eat them now, but I eat them in a much smaller quantity.
Right, yeah. And it's not really the food, right? It's the oil that the food was made from.
But that's
mostly oil, salt, and sugar. Yeah.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, it has so many additives. And it's like, most of those are in such trace amounts, they don't really affect you that much. It's the oil, salt, and sugar.
It's the oil, salt, and sugar.
Salt,
I cannot go ham on sodium. I will wake up like a blimp the next morning.
well, it's the type of oil too, right? Certain like palm oils and other
some oils are worse than others.
Peanut oil is really bad for me.
I don't really have a problem with any oil, but I only really use coconut oil and olive oil.
I never use petroleum.
Oh, I do.
You cook with petroleum.
Yeah, you've never had a petroleum.
Right now. It's so good.
You've never had petroleum jelly and peanut butter sandwiches?
Ew. Makes them go faster.
It's peanut butter and petroleum jelly sandwich.
Yes.
God. No, it's almond butter and petroleum in my house, okay?
Ooh, fancy California lady.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very bougie.
And it's single source petroleum jelly.
It's only from this one well.
Single origin.
But we talked about this before. It's like, there are certain chemicals that just hit people differently than other people. Like aspartame, I'm out.
Nope.
Can't do it.
30 seconds.
And
Stevie Nicks too.
Roger, you talked about something else that doesn't agree with you.
Aspartame and sucralose. Not sucralose.
Sucralose.
What's the sucra? Sweet though.
I don't know.
Baby oil, stoic squirrel? You have to source that from babies?
10 seconds.
Well, that's not cool.
That is unethical.
Have a good show, everybody.
Good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet.
Good day and hello, Internet.
Indeed. We know a lot of you watch news, probably more than you should. And so welcome to a space away from the news. We are going to bring you tech news, totally different kind of news. It's like the difference between eating a delicious strawberry jelly and eating petroleum jelly, for example. We're the strawberry, by the way, in that analogy, in case you were.
I don't like strawberry either, Tom, though.
What kind of jelly do you like?
Grape.
Marmalade.
Grape jelly. Let's go.
I like grape jelly.
Let's go with grape jelly for Sarah, marmalade for Roger, and I'll take the strawberry. I like a berry jelly. I'm also berry jelly. I'm not actually jealous of anything. I couldn't think of anything.
Are you berry jelly?
I'm very jelly that you get to listen to us. That felt a little like way too, self-serving. So let's just do the news then, shall we?
Let's do it.
There we go. In 3, 2. Daily Tech News Show is made possible by you listening right now. Thanks to all of you, including Michelle Sergiu, Kirk Stephenson, Miranda Janelle, and brand new patron Keith.
Hey, Keith.
Welcome, Keith. Welcome, Keith. On this episode of DTNS, new Chromebooks with new Google AI, Microsoft's new look and new features for Copilot, and robots and drones are teaming up to bring you burritos and other things probably. This is the Daily Tech News for Tuesday, the 1st of October, 2024. In Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merritt.
From Studio Animal House, I'm Sarah Lane.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
I was able to change my calendar while you two introduced yourselves.
Sleight of hand.
It's October 1st. How the heck?
Finally, we can begin celebrating Halloween.
Right. You know what? If you want to get that, the pumpkin spice latte, serve yourself.
Wait no more. Yeah, because everyone's been holding back. I know. That's irony because everyone has not been holding back as far as I can tell.
No.
I think that Halloween candy's been in the grocery store since August, if I remember right. Anyway, let's start with some tech news called the Quick Hits.
Microsoft began rolling out its latest update to Windows 11, aka Windows 11 24H2, which just means the Windows 11 update for the second half of 2024. Among the new features are support for the Linux sudo command inside Windows, support for Wi-Fi 7, support for 7zxip, and .tar file compression. You can also reverse the mouse scroll direction in settings now, instead of having to edit that in Windows registry to do that. The rollout begins and will come to all Windows machines over the next several weeks. Microsoft has also stopped making its HoloLens 2 headsets. Existing users still getting security updates until the end of 2027, but that's kind of it.
OpenAI Dev Days is always a fun time for OpenAI. Sometimes they lose their CEO a couple of days later. Sometimes, like this year, their CTO steps down a few days before. But they always announced features for developers, and this year is no exception. They announced that you, as a developer, can now more easily integrate OpenAI into your products. Real-time API will let devs include near real-time conversational abilities, the voice stuff that's in ChatGPT now, in your own apps, with 6 custom voices that are actually different from the ones that users have in ChatGPT. Devs can also use their own images and text to fine-tune models, train it on their own stuff without having to give it to OpenAI, and use larger models to fine-tune smaller models in order to save money, because the smaller models don't cost as much to operate.
You might not realize that Ashley Furniture is the #1 furniture retailer in the U.S. It's notable now that Samsung has teamed up with Ashley Furniture for smart home products. The first Samsung SmartThings showroom in an Ashley Furniture store will open this week in Brentwood, Tennessee. That's outside Nashville.
Somebody's listening right now lives near this Ashley Furniture. Please go visit it and report back. Yeah, let us know.
Take photos, take vids, pick some vids.
Indeed. Or it doesn't happen. You have to do it or it won't happen. It's on you. A startup called Liquid AI has debuted its first multimodal model, the Liquid Foundation Model, or LFM. And you might say, okay, there's dozens of these things out there. What makes this one special? This one does not use the T in GPT It is not a transformer model like pretty much all the other generative models out there. Instead, it uses deep learning models combined with new mathematical formulations to make it more efficient. In fact, they believe their method is so much more efficient that it can outperform Meta's Llama 3.2-1.2b and Microsoft's Phi 1.5, and also uses less memory. The models are available through Liquid's Inference Playground, Lambda Chat, or Perplexity AI, and are still in the preview stage. A full launch event is planned for October 23rd.
Sonos announced an additional 1-year warranty for products that are still under warranty, which is a promise to release updates more gradually with a chance for customer feedback and an opt-in program to try experimental features. Planned hardware releases will resume in the coming weeks, starting with the Sonos Arc Ultra and the Sub 4.
And everything is forgiven? Maybe not.
Yeah.
All right, we have Microsoft announcements about Copilot to get to, but let's start with Google's 2 new Chromebooks, the Samsung Galaxy Chromebook Plus and the Lenovo Chromebook Duet 11. They come, well, one of them does. The Samsung one comes with the new Quick Insert button, which gives immediate access to Gemini features. The new button will replace the Search Launcher button on Chromebooks going forward. Pressing it will bring up features like Help Me Write, and eventually image generation, plus recently visited websites, file search, GIF and emoji selection, all informed by Gemini. Chromebook Plus models in general are getting more Gemini features like Help Me Read, which does summaries of the text you're looking at, Live Translate, which creates translated captions in real time, and Recorder, which creates transcripts from spoken lectures, interviews, or other conversations. There's also a feature called Welcome Recap that launches when you power on and reminds you what you were doing when you powered off. The Samsung Chromebook Plus is a 15.6-inch OLED display, 13 hours of battery life starting at $699. And the Chromebook Duet 11, which again does not have the quick insert button, but does have a stylus for its 10.9-inch touchscreen and 12 hours of battery life, starts at $340. Both of them are available later this month. We were talking before the show, and Roger was pointing out that, Chromebooks have become the de rigueur education model. They're a bargain model. A lot of people keep using them because they're lightweight, and now they're bringing some more of the Gemini stuff into it too.
One of the things that as we keep getting these tools to have like the little assistant, what's 2 + 2 type stuff, but more and more advanced. One of the things I've been wondering about is, how does this affect kids in school? If you're working and you know what your job is, maybe you can use something that is Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever, at the ready to help you do your job better. Okay, if the tool works for you, great. But what about like young kids who just sort of like, it's this is very much the like Texas Instruments conversation of like, well, should kids be given calculators where they're not gonna, do the math themselves type thing? This feels like just more of that.
Like, so are you worried that Gemini makes it not let's forget cheating, because teachers can crack down on that.
Yeah, no, I'm not even talking about cheating.
Too easy. It just makes it too easy for them to use these kinds of tools to get answers.
I don't know if it's a problem that it's too easy.
Yeah, I don't know if it is either.
If you know how to use a tool to get an answer and the answer is correct, I don't know. I mean, I don't consider that cheating. You have access to a tool. Do all kids have access to the same tool? That maybe is the next conversation I have. But obviously, the Chromebooks are not just for classrooms, for all ages. But I'm into it. I really think that if you need some help and you know that something can mathematically just deduce a thing that would take you a little bit more time than you have, I'm all in on it.
Well, just like calculators, I think it's on teachers to be able to show how to use the tools properly to assist you, how to understand how the tools get their answers, when they can't be relied on, when they can be relied on, and that sort of thing. I also think, it's not like Chromebooks are only for education or only for children. I think that starts to become a trope out there as well. These are great prices for very capable laptops. I have a Chromebook I've been using for almost 10 years, and it's still great. Because the lightweight OS continues to get updated. I'm not going to get the button, but I am going to get some of this Gemini stuff. Nothing that's going to work on device, but that's not how Chromebooks work anyway. Everything's in the cloud. So I'll be able to take advantage of a lot of this stuff. They're very long-lived laptops as long as you have a good internet connection, right? Which, granted, that may be an issue in some situations, but more and more people do have a good enough internet connection to be able to use this sort of thing.
Well, let's talk about what we can use robotics for. Serve Robotics, which makes the little coolers on wheels that roll around on sidewalks for food delivery in some urban areas, definitely some college campuses, is partnering with Wing Aviation, which makes drones that can deliver the same kinds of things, but through the air. Serve Robots make the most of their deliveries within about 2 miles of the restaurant that they're coming from. Partnership with Wing would potentially expand that to 6 miles, and here's how this would work. They'll use the Wing delivery network, which uses autoloader stations, then Serve's robots pick up the delivery from the restaurant, take it to one of those autoloader stations, then the Wing drone picks it up and delivers it to its destination. The service is starting, it's a very small rollout, in Dallas, Texas, in the next few months.
Yeah, we talked about the Wing stuff previously on DTNS. I don't even remember how long ago now, but the autoloader in those situations were going to be installed in like parking lots for retailers. So the retailer would come out, one of the employees would come out and put the item for delivery in the autoloader, and then the autoloader would auto-load it into the drone. The drones actually can lower the deliveries to the ground for the recipient, right? Because they can hover.
Yeah.
So what this is doing is pretty genius. It's saying, what if we just take the employee out of the equation and we have the delivery robot pop over? Obviously, it's going to have to authenticate that this is the right autoloader station and the right delivery robot, and then it can pop open its case, and the autoloader can automatically grab the stuff and pull it out. I don't know if you're going to need humans to assist that part of the process. I'm curious if you might.
I don't think, I think in design, you don't need humans to do this. I do wonder, and I think a lot of people out there are being like, well, but okay, it depends on what I order. Like, did I order a pizza and now it's 6 miles away and there's a drone and
the drone's going to whip that thing to you. It's going to be hotter than any other possible delivery could be, right?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, hey, you've got to, put everything in foil and, hope for the best type thing. But I saw a Serve Robotics robot going down, not my street that I live on, but an adjacent street, a well-traveled street this morning. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it was sort of like in the morning, it was sort of busy. A lot of people are out and about, buses come down this road, and people were just like, what is that? Ah. And, I've
were
seen
they screaming? Really?
I've seen it before. Well, not screaming, but just like, what is
like a
that?
50s
Like,
movie,
who's running this? Kind of thing. Or where I'm like, it's okay. It'll be fine. It's going to somebody, probably at USC.
But it hasn't been in your area before, is what
not that I've seen. Not that I've seen. No, certainly not. I said that about Waymo too, and now it's like every third car is a Waymo. But yeah, I love these guys. At the same time, it's like, yeah, if you want to, if I'm sitting at home and I want to order, again, let's call it a pizza, and that pizza place that is my favorite place is 6 miles away, I will assume that it will come to me kind of cold.
Why?
Well, because
That's only like 6 minutes away.
but no, what with the little robots on the street, on the sidewalk? They have to
No, the robots. That's why they don't deliver more than 2 miles away from the restaurant. Yeah,
flying actually makes this like I'm gonna get this within half an hour type thing.
Well, you should get it faster, right? So if you order from like Uber Eats or DoorDash, right, it's gonna get cooked. Let's give that 15 minutes, right? Then it's going to get put in the car, and the car has to go through traffic. So I say 6 minutes as if I don't live in Los Angeles, where 6 miles can be 30 minutes. But maybe it's still hot by the time you get it in 45 minutes. It's not impossible.
I mean, with a little robot on the street, I'm like, I don't know.
No.
Like, I don't even want to do that to the little robot.
With the little robots on the street don't go more than 2 miles. So if you try to order that pizza and you're 6 miles away, it's going to say, sorry, we can't deliver it to you. Now they can, and they can get it to you faster than the DoorDash, right?
Well, yeah. No, that's my point is, you fly through the air to give me my pizza, I'm in.
The problem is, I don't think you can do this in our neighborhoods. You have to have a place with an auto loader, and you need a lot of space. You also, in an apartment building, they're going to have to do urban areas is not something I don't think Wing is figured out entirely how to operate in yet. They've got some ideas, but they're using Dallas because they need a place with lots of space, and they're going to use suburban Dallas. I'm telling you, they're not going to use downtown Dallas.
100%. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like where would a drone. I've never had drone delivery, but let's say I tried. Like, where would the drone land? You could land, I guess, on the sidewalk outside my house.
They don't land. They hover, and then they lower your package to you.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean by land.
They could do that in front of your apartment, I guess.
They could.
Not yours specifically, but
knowing my neighborhood, I'm like, well, shouldn't stay out there that long, or someone will take it real quick.
Well, yeah, they do wait to lower it until you acknowledge, like, yes, I'm here.
Yeah, like
please
I'm
lower
here,
it now.
kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I want to try it. I'm excited about it. But yeah, the whole sort of like the drone future that we've been promised is so much slower than I thought it would be.
Real slow to get here, yeah.
Yeah, like, even 5 years ago, it was like, okay, well, we're going to have drone taxis, any day now. And it's like, there's some novelty stuff right now, but no one's flying in the air to go from point A to point B. And that's not how our stuff is coming to us either.
Well, same goes for Dallas as goes for Nashville. We got a couple of months before this takes off, but if you do use this combo of Serve and Wing to get your burrito delivered to you, we want to know about it. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. In fact, you could also tell us on social networks, share some photos. You can get in touch with DTNS at DTNS Show on X, at DTNS Show at mstdn.social on Mastodon, at Daily Tech News Show on TikTok, and DTNS Pix, DTNS PIX on Instagram and Threads. Microsoft announced a bunch of features for Copilot, its implementation of large language models across web, mobile, and desktop, including the design. You can now see the new Copilot design on the web, iOS, Android, and Windows. You can DM Copilot in WhatsApp. The Verge's Tom Warren called the new design unlike anything I've seen from Microsoft before. I think he meant it in a positive way, too. It's somewhat tile-based, but it's not like Windows Phone or Windows 8 were. Have you taken a look, and do you have an impression of what you think of the new Copilot look?
I've taken a look. Yeah, I've taken a look. I it's a little weird, but like not weird in a bad way. I feel like I know what Microsoft is going for here.
Yeah, it's cards. Cards is probably better than tiles, so you don't think about Windows 8. It's like a card interface. There's also Copilot Voice. Copilot Voice lets you speak conversationally to Copilot. It adds 4 synthetic voices you can talk to. It can respond to your tone. You can interject at any point. It sounds like OpenAI's advanced voice mode, but Microsoft only said that it's using the latest voice models that it fine-tuned itself. It did not cop to this being the advanced voice mode. It is available now in English in the US, Canada, Australia, the UK, and New Zealand.
Yeah. The more that an assistant can be something that doesn't need a wake word.
Yeah,
where,
you don't have to think about how to talk to it.
Right. You're just sort of like, hey, I need help. Okay, cool. Oh, you gave me an answer that wasn't quite right. Let me rephrase that. Okay.
Yeah, and you can interrupt it too. That's the OpenAI thing. That's kind of
like
cool.
a friend.
Yeah,
like a friend. A trusted friend that is smart. That's the whole thing, right? It's like this is supposed to be like, who's my smartest friend? Wouldn't that be nice if they were right next to me right now?
Yeah.
And then
a trusted friend who's fun to be with. Copilot.
Well, I don't know about fun, but definitely smart. So yeah.
Copilot Vision is a new feature that lets the paying users, the Copilot Pro users, see, lets Copilot see what you're viewing in the Edge browser. So you have to be a paying user, you have to be using Edge, and you have to be on a limited list of popular websites. They're not letting this work for anything paywalled or sensitive content. You'd think like your health records, anything like that. But if you're just, on Ashley Furniture's website, let's say, you could type in @Copilot in the address bar and then ask your question about any of the images or text on the page. Like, do you think this would look good in my apartment? Is one of the examples they gave. It's opt-in, and any data related to your session is deleted when you're done. They're not storing that to train or anything. Again, it is launching for select Pro users now through Copilot Labs. So you have to opt into Labs to do it.
Feels very, Google Gemini, going head to head here.
Yeah. We're going to get a lot of that in the list of announcements, I think.
Yeah, like what do you do inside your browser? How can the browser help you? Is it just, do you just search for things using keywords, or do you, dive in a little bit farther, which I think the Copilot Vision is designed to do.
Yeah, and it can be proactive and suggest things to you about the web page you're looking for. So it seems like it's a little bit narrow in that you have to be paying, you have to opt in, and you have to use Edge. But if you fall into that camp, it might be pretty useful. Yeah. Think Deeper is a specialized model for complex things. This is also for the paying users, Copilot Pro users. It uses OpenAI's models, and it takes time to consider a request. It provides step-by-step answers. It sounds almost identical to OpenAI's O1 model, the one that's not great at everything, but really good at reasoning. Microsoft would not confirm that. It just said that it fine-tuned the service itself, but it did give examples that are very O1-like. Analyzing the cost of a home project, solving a tough math problem. These are available in Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the UK, and the US.
I gotta say, I mean, comparing it to OpenAI, it's like, how is this not ChatGPT?
Yeah, it's just through Copilot, right? That's the difference. Is that
right? Yeah, exactly.
And Microsoft's advantage is, you can now use it in all of the Microsoft products, whereas ChatGPT you can only use in the OpenAI interface. So I don't know why they're being so cagey about this and saying it's OpenAI's model, but we've modified it. It's not just the O1 model, other than product differentiation.
This feels very much for somebody who's very entrenched in, the Microsoft product ecosystem.
All of this stuff is for that, for sure.
Well, yeah. But this even more. It's like, why not ChatGPT? It's like, well, because you're using other Microsoft products already, and they're going to be built into this.
I want to pull things from Excel and my Teams and blah blah blah.
Right.
Blah,
yeah.
right.
And there's a button. It's easy.
Yeah. Copilot Daily is a new feature that reads you news, weather, and if you want, reminders for your tasks. So it's kind of like your morning podcast. It's tailored exactly to you. So here's the news of the day. It's going to be sunny, and don't forget you have a meeting at 6 or whatever. That is available in the UK and the US. And if you're wondering, publishers will be paid for any of their content that appears in the news and weather portion. Reuters, Axel Springer, Hearst, and the Financial Times have already signed up.
All right. Kind of feels like what I do with Alexa in the morning.
It is very similar.
When I wake up.
The proposition is that this will be better because that one is fairly clunky, and this will be tailored to you and your tastes. We'll see. Your mileage may vary on that, but that's the pitch anyway.
Yeah. No, I like stuff like this.
Yeah. This one's kind of nifty. It may or may not work as well as people want it to, but it's not bad. Copilot Discover gives you tips on the ways to use Copilot based on what Microsoft services you use. So it's supposed to be tailored to you as well. You can also enable personalization as a setting in Copilot, which will then take into account your past preferences and interactions across a bunch of different tools. This can be turned off in Windows settings. It is not coming to the EU or the UK.
Well, sorry for y'all. But yeah, this Discover tool, it's you can probably figure things out.
It's a
on your
very
own.
smart Clippy.
Right. Yeah.
All US users will see Bing generative search now. It generates a summary in response to a query. This is just basically Google's AI overviews. And then new features coming to the Copilot Plus PCs. So these are the ones that have the specialized processors. Most of the ones you can buy right now are Qualcomm, but there's also some Intel and AMD ones showing up. The first of the new features to come to Copilot Plus PCs will let you search for photos in File Explorer by text that describes what's in the image. Right now, you can do a search for photos in File Explorer, but it'll look at the metadata and it'll look at the file name. This will actually look at the image itself. And so even if it doesn't say Seven the dog anywhere in the file name or the metadata,
It'll see Seven
it'll
the dog.
know,
Yeah.
there's the dog right there. That functionality will come later to the main Windows search and to settings for things other than photos. So if you want to be like, how do I set up my headphones properly, was the example they gave. In settings, it'll give you the proper settings. There's also a feature called Click to Do, which is like circle to search. You press the Windows key and the left click on the mouse, and you can select images or text. You'll then get a menu of possible actions you could take, like edit in photos, copy, save, share, etc. Windows insiders will begin to be able to test this on Copilot Plus PCs this month, followed by a wider rollout to other folks in November. And Microsoft's also adding generative fill and erase to Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, so we're getting PCs that are smarter than ever. I've got no issues with this.
You don't have a problem with the way it's trained or any of those ethical questions that people are always asking, or the energy use of processing some of the stuff if it's not on device in some cases?
Yeah, I mean, energy use for sure. I mean, that's a question we should all be asking ourselves. But otherwise, no. I'm really, I'm not one of those people who's like, well, if you didn't do anything wrong, why are you worried?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But I feel like, the AI training models, I am not personally worried that my use is going to somehow implicate me in the future. Some people don't feel as comfortable as I do about that. That's fine. I'm kind of more of a, I'm a beta program person. Like, yeah, get me in there. Let's see how it goes. Even if things roll back later. But yeah, I think Copilot Plus PCs are they're very attractive. They're nice systems, and this whole idea of like Microsoft is kind of in my head and helping me with things. You don't have to use that.
Yeah, I think they did a better job of stating like you have control. You can turn these things off. Some of them are opt out when they maybe should be opt in or whatever. But are emphasizing when they're not going to use any of the data, getting rid of it. They're trying to be more sensitive to those kinds of concerns.
Right.
All right, folks, let's check out what's in our mailbag.
Let's do it. If you are going to the airport and you really wish you had a faster way to do that, Chris Christensen has a new tidbit about air taxis that could provide just this.
This is Chris Christensen from Amateur Traveler with another Tech in Travel Minute. I missed this, but it came out in June that a company called Joby has received FAA approval for an app for an online service for an air taxi. Now, they are still developing the air taxi, and they haven't received approval for that yet. So when I head to the airport tomorrow, I'm probably just taking an Uber, but at least it's one step closer. Will sometime in the future we call an air taxi that can go 200 miles per hour and gets us there directly? Maybe. We'll see. This is Chris Christensen from Amateur Traveler.
Thank you, Chris. Patrons, stick around for the extended show Good Day Internet. CNN is trying to paywall again. This time it has to work. They're not building this one about video. This one's about text, at least to start with. We'll also look at the Netflix top 10 lists and see if any of us are watching any of the things they say are popular. Stick around for all of that.
You can catch our show live Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 2000 UTC is where we do this live, and you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. We're back tomorrow to own it all again, talking about Epic's new strategy to woo game developers with Scott Johnson. Talk to you then.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
All right, folks. Would you like to name that show? Perhaps you'd like to name it Biffy.
Would you like to play a game?
Would you like to buy an O? That's from Sesame Street. But if you'd like to name the show, you go to showbot.tv/DTNS2 and vote on one of the 20 DTNS titles that have been submitted, or submit your own. You can also do the same for GDI content. CNN is back, but it's not CNN Plus this time. It's a subscription service that gives you access to additional content behind a paywall. You know, like on Bloomberg or Reuters or Wired or the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times or the Washington Post.
Or every single thing I click on every morning when I'm trying to learn about tech news. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. $3.99 a month or $29.99 a year. They're not saying how many articles you can read for free before the paywall warning will kick in. It does sound like they want a looser version of this. Like, it may be more like you get 1 or 2 a day. And if you're more than that, they might try to get you to pay. Subscribers will also see fewer digital ads. They'll get access to so-called flash documentaries on recent topics. This is something Bloomberg has been doing as well. Nate Langston is involved with the version of this for Bloomberg. Robust interactive features. So if you like really want to map out the election map, they'll have some like more high-powered stuff if you pay. And over time, they plan to add more video to the product. They don't plan to add the live feed of CNN. That is in Max. If you pay for Max, that is separate from this subscription. You pay for Max, you get CNN Live, and you get a bunch of CNN shows. You pay for this, you get to read CNN, and you get a couple of bonus videos.
I frequent CNN, you know, as much as the next person. I like this idea. I also feel like, you know, when you say like it's $4 a month or $30 a year, this is something, you know, this is money that you can part with, right? You know, many of us are already, you know, subscribed to so many things. For example, I am resubscribed to Apple News because it's just a very, very good way for me to read a lot of stuff that would be paywalled, and it just an annoyance to get around otherwise. And I, you know, I care about the folks that are, you know, journaling and, you know, bringing that stuff to us. I care about CNN in the same way. But at the same time, it's like CNN Plus did not work. $4 a month. I think that's a really great way for people to be like, just not going to do it.
CNN Plus was $5.99 a month too. It wasn't really that much more expensive.
Yeah.
CNN Plus was trying to be a streaming service, right? It was trying to be like Discovery Plus or Shudder, or I don't think it was trying to be like Peacock or even Max. It was trying to be a specialty service. Where it's like, do you love the CNN news so much?
And you had to,
get even more of it.
you had to be really be into the personalities that are part of this CNN Plus universe. And, you know, not that everybody doesn't like Anderson Cooper, but, you know, it just didn't resonate in a way where, you know, and this is the thing, like there's so many extremely successful brands try to package like a streaming service. Let's do that, and they don't get it right. You know, it's just not something that enough people want.
We're also out of the time where you can try it because it was new. For years, it was, hey, streaming is a new thing. People are trying out different streaming services. Here's your chance to launch one. Maybe it'll catch on. And so the way I've always looked at it is, of course, we had hundreds of streaming services because this was the chance to try it out and see if you could make one that people would like. I don't like saying, oh, a bunch of people tried dumb ideas, because honestly, that's the way it looks in reverse. But you don't know if it's a dumb idea or a good idea until you've tried it and it's caught on or not. I think CNN Plus was a little fraught in that it was tried right before a merger. It was not the best content from CNN. It was like the other content from CNN.
It was content that CNN knew really resonated with some people, but a lot of people just said, like, I'm not going to pay for this.
It's like Anderson Cooper 360 resonates with people, so we won't give them that. We'll give them something like it.
Right. Yeah.
And it also came at the tail end when everybody had already tried their streaming services. We were starting to see which ones were working and which ones were not. And people were like, okay, I've tried a bunch of them. I'm not going to pay for all of them. So it was the wrong time to launch that. I think they are smarter to put live CNN in Max and say, like, hey, that's part of that. Maybe they can make CNN, what I've always thought is they could make some CNN content a paid upgrade to Max the way they're doing with sports. They're not doing that. Instead, they're doing this. Frankly, this makes more sense. Because CNN.com, people read the way they read the Washington Post, the way they read New York Times. So you've got a better bet of somebody going, yeah, I read CNN every day. It's worth $30 a year for me to be able to read as much as possible.
Yeah. Paywalls, depending on, who you are, how often you hit a site and what you're trying to read. Us as, news gatherers, I think I hit, my paywall limit on sites that I don't pay for every paywall. Not at all. I just sort of figure out ways around it, which also doesn't feel good.
It's annoying. Yeah.
I don't like doing that. I don't like, giving the impression that I don't think that this news is worth my time. But there are just so many other ways to get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like, if you can deliver a product that feels affordable, and also, okay, so this is what I get, that I might get a little taste of it otherwise. And, every month I have enough extras, exclusives, that kind of thing, then, it's not unlike the way that we do on Patreon, right? It's like, give people extras, give people a reason to want to invest that much further.
Another thing that you pointed out in other news, Threads users can now see who follows them from Mastodon and other parts of the Fediverse.
Yeah, this came across my desk a little bit earlier today, and Threads had, the promise of Threads, obviously owned by Meta, was that it was going to be a Fediverse product, and at the outset, not so much, but got a lot of attention. A lot of people on Threads now. In fact, Threads is like my favorite place to be these days, and promised. Okay, the whole promise of Fediverse and being able to have interoperability between Threads and a variety of other places, Mastodon being one of them, was something where I was sort of like, all right, we'll see. So I don't know. I'll give it up to Threads for.
It's a slow roll, but they are following up.
It's a slow roll.
Peace.
But I will.
By piece.
Piece by piece. But I do think it's like, okay, the team working behind Threads is, who knows? Maybe they have lots of other things to think about, but they're not reneging on a lot of, these promises. Sure, slow roll. But if you are a Fediverse person who's like, I don't like Threads, I don't want to be on Threads, I don't like Meta, I don't like Facebook, et cetera, this makes you able to talk to a lot of people that much more easily.
Yeah. And now they can reply to you and they can see if you liked their posts and see if you follow them and stuff.
Right.
So
It's like
we're
one
still
big
short
network.
of full integration. I don't really know why it's taking them so long to do it, but it is happening. You're right. You should give them credit for that.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the new Netflix top 10 lists. I think this will be fun. Variety posted them for the week of September 23rd through the 29th. So, just last week. These are from Netflix. They are ranked by hours viewed and then to views. So they take the hours viewed, they divide it by the runtime, and then that's how they get the number of views. So TV series wise, and play along with us in the chat room. How many of us have watched the number one TV series on Netflix, Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story? I have
not
read a lot about that. I've seen a lot about this. I have not watched.
I have. Yeah, right. Because like the real brothers are upset about the movie or who was, cast as them type thing.
Yeah.
This is not something that I've watched. Although I like a good courtroom drama.
19,500,000 views, though. That's a lot of people.
Right. Which is like that. This almost has me wonder. It's like when did those murders happen? Like in the 90s?
The 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay.
When I was sitting watching Frog Baseball and Beavis and Butthead, I was watching the news about the Menendez
heard about
brothers.
it, but it wasn't like something I
On
was like
CNN.
riveted to. OJ trial, very much so. But
Yeah, same thing, same era.
But yeah, so same era. So it's like, so who is driving these numbers? Is it Gen X? Where they knew about the trial in the first place? Because I can't really imagine like a, 20-something-year-old being like, ooh, the Menendez story. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, people love a true crime, though. That is
true.
kind of cross-generational. It doesn't have to be nostalgia, but I think there is a little nostalgia in the Gen X side of it. Number 2 is Nobody Wants This Season 1. Apparently, lots of people want it because it's got 10,300,000 views.
I
don't know anything about it. Do you know it, Roger?
I've seen the ads for it. It has from The Good Place, Veronica Mars, the actress. I'm always spacing on her. Kristen Bell. She's in a relationship with a practicing Jew, and so it's more of like a cultural, like, how does this work between me being
because
a Catholic?
she is not Jewish herself.
Yeah, because she's a Catholic, or at least in the show. Mm-hmm. And so the idea is like, how does this work? No one wants this, and it's a rom-com.
It's like my parents. They made it work. That's fine.
Yeah.
You can work it out.
You won't find out unless you watch.
Emily in Paris season 4 still in the top 10.
I'm impressed.
Been 7
that show
weeks
has
in the top 10.
4 seasons.
Yeah.
Like a hotel.
Also, Prison Break seasons 1 through 3 are in the top 10. Why is everyone into Prison Break?
Oh, because prison shows. I mean, you got to
the
look
Menendez
at a prison
brothers
show.
theory. Yeah.
Well, but that's more of like, courtroom drama. Prison shows are about prison. Orange is the New Black. That was a prison show also. I mean, even though it was like kind of comedy.
Why these 3? Is a new season coming back or something? Did they just arrive on Netflix? Like why seasons 1 through 3?
I don't know.
Oh, did one of the actors, Prison Break actor?
Prison Break is canceled. It's no longer
No, but
on.
like one of the actors, are they doing something super amazing?
It must have just arrived, and everybody's like, "Ooh, Prison Break's on Netflix. I'll watch that."
Yeah, I don't know. Good question. I've never
Definitely has a
watched
following.
Prison Break, but I did watch Oz back in the day. Oh boy, do not watch that if you have a weak stomach.
Ellen DeGeneres for your approval at number 9.
Which is okay, wait. So
It's
her
a comedy
show
special.
her-
It's
yeah.
brand. That one's brand new.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, you know, people like Ellen.
Prison Break got a Teen Choice Award.
This year?
No, in 2017. The
Oh,
actor.
like-
The actor.
Well, because one of them, is like a hot
Wentworth
boy.
Miller. Yeah.
Type
But
thing.
I was like, no.
And then
Yeah.
Mr. McMahon, of course,
Yes.
is brand new limited series about Ed McMahon.
I always say Ed McMahon, but
No, it's Vince McMahon, right?
that is correct.
I would watch an Ed McMahon. I would.
Ed McMahon and Vince McMahon together again for the first time. That's the WWE related like true story of Vince McMahon.
Well,
you
you
know,
know,
going
wrestling's
back
had
to
its
Emily in
moment.
Paris, people say like Emily in Paris, what a dumb show, but people love that show. I've never watched it, so I have no opinion personally, but like quite a few friends that I have that just are very not kind of like, oh, let's watch like a bougie show about an American in Paris. They love that show.
It's very, at least the way I understand it, it presents that whole idyllic, like Parisian lifestyle.
It's a
in the same way that
Well, Emily is you, right?
Yeah,
not
exactly.
you, Roger, but
No.
like it's you
I
as the
cut my
viewer
hair, now
are
people don't
represented by
recognize me.
Emily as the like.
Yeah, like,
I
could
don't
I
really
do
know
this
French.
too?
I'm a fish out of water, but can I
Yeah.
make it? Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
there's a very small cottage industry of YouTubers, especially French YouTubers, who describe why Emily in Paris is totally unrealistic, and they go through all the economics.
There
of
was
that.
an article on The Economist, and I listened to the podcast where they talked about it, that is like people in France love Emily in Paris now. Like they've done an entire 180 on it. They hated it at first, or at least they said they did, but now they're not even hiding that they love it. If they ever really hated it, they're like embracing it, and it is super popular in France.
Yeah.
I think, anytime where you live or what where you're from gets like a positive spin.
Well, and by
enjoy it.
season 4, they had to add more French characters who had deeper backstories, and now it's not just all about Emily. Apparently, that's what they were saying.
Emily and Friends
There was,
is a spin.
and again, I'll preface this by saying I've never watched the show because at first people were just like, oh my gosh, what garbage, how awful, and I was like, okay, I'll watch something else. But somebody said something on X the other day where it was like, so Emily just like goes to work every day in Paris, and that's the show.
Yep.
And I was like, got it. Okay. All right.
I mean,
the show has a plot line. It's not just about like, ooh, Eiffel Tower.
It's just
wow.
30 minutes of her sitting at her desk typing.
But what's revealing for me on this list is that this has kind of followed the same sort of trail that you had on TV, where for a while there it was effects heavy, like visual effects heavy, special effects heavy shows like sci-fi, comic book superhero stuff, and now it's just more back to the basics where you still get a good audience, but you're not paying out an arm and a leg to do a bunch of cool stunt scenes and stuff. Because I haven't seen too much of them. I've seen like one episode.
You haven't seen the big motorcycle jump over the Eiffel
I mean,
Tower
that
she
would
did?
be like where she jumps over the Eiffel Tower and then
She
does
jumps
a
the
repeat
Seine
over the
and- yeah.
yeah.
A bunch of people in the chat room are like, these numbers, we don't even know what they are. They're all made up. That's not in any way what they're actually saying, but it's the rough sentiment. Netflix is giving us these numbers themselves. They generally match what independent analysts say, so they are generally considered to be accurate. And they are. I gave you exactly how they calculate it. They say this many hours of a show was viewed according to our. We count the number of times. So it doesn't matter whether you're watching the credits or not. It's this many minutes was watched. And they express it as hours. They divide it by the runtime. Like if the Lyle and Eric Menendez stories take 7 hours and 54 minutes to watch the entire thing, that's the runtime. And then they take the hours viewed, divided by the runtime, that's the number of views. So they're not trying to count whether someone finished it or not. They're saying if somebody watches 3 minutes, that goes into the pile of hours viewed. If somebody watches all 7 hours and 54 minutes, including the credits, that goes in the hours viewed. And then they divide that total of viewing by the runtime to be like, if someone were to watch the entire thing beginning to end, it couldn't be more than this many views, 19,500,000. So it's actually fairly transparent, I think.
Rebel Ridge, which one?
And we don't know if it's accurate because we're going on their own report for hours viewed. But like I said, it does tend to match up with what analysts who are measuring it from the outside seem to say.
A lot of crime, not rom-coms. Well, I guess maybe. Is Emily considered? Emily in Paris considered?
I don't think Emily in Paris is very crimey.
But I mean,
it's
like,
more
is it
rom-com,
comedy?
more coming of age, I guess. I don't know.
I'm just
Again,
always
haven't
fascinated
seen it, so.
with the cultural milieu where it shifts. Like, now we're in this phase, like, before zombies, and then it was end of the world apocalyptic alien invasion. Now it's just
well, if you go to non-English TV, you go from 19.5 million views to 4.9 million views. So the English language stuff is the more popular. They have everything dubbed now anyway. But the non-English top show is Culinary Class Wars Season 1, still in progress. This is essentially Physical 100 meets Iron Chef. They got the top chefs in Korea, like the people who do the Michelin star restaurants, the one person who does a 3 Michelin
Korean
star restaurant.
chefs.
Yeah. And they brought them into a room and did a reality competition show with them. Like, it's like really good if you like cooking shows. And then, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just trying to figure, is the class based on like, so this is a school class?
You've got 20 chefs who are either Michelin stars or Beard Award winners, or have somehow already been recognized in their milieu. They're the white coats, and then you have 80 chefs that are the black coats, and they're the ones who are like very popular or well reviewed, but they haven't actually won any like Michelin stars or Beard Awards or anything like that.
Are they supposed to like hook up with each other type thing?
No,
I'm not talking about like sexy stuff, but like hook up in the sense that like a white coat might say like black
teams.
coat, you should be with me. Yeah.
I haven't watched far enough in. We've only watched the first episode, but the idea is that the black coats team, the 80 people, are going to get cut down to 20 in episode 1. And then that'll be the 20 white coats versus the 20 black coats team, and then people get eliminated.
I'm just confused if the term class in the title refers to like a socioeconomic class or just class as a group of people in the same, like.
Well, it's not the 20 richest chefs, so no, it's not socioeconomic class. The class refers to, specifically in the mechanics of the show, these are the top class chefs in Korea versus these other chefs who are very popular, very well reviewed, but maybe they're not, a Michelin star holders or things like that. So yeah, it's class wars in that sense.
Well, this is not anything that we're talking about right now, but I'm very into Dancing with the Stars this season.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have never even watched the show before. I'm like, Dancing with the Stars, who wants to watch that? It's very good. It's so campy.
We watched it years ago, like decades ago. I haven't watched it since.
Well, Dwight Howard is on this season. I really want him to win. So
that's how they do it. They always cast stuff where you're like, well, I want to see what that guy does.
It's like the one person where you're like, oh, and they keep getting saved, every time there's an elimination. It's like, I'm like, these people are like really good dancers. Like really good.
But is it the whole thing like they have to be trained? Like they go through
they're paired up with professional ballroom dancers.
Yeah, but like it's, and sometimes like it's better or worse depending on the whole thing, but it's like it's an adorable show. But like the whole like show is just, it's so just like, all right, and everybody get ready for our next act. Dancing to Janet Jackson, like whatever it is, it's like, it's so campy. But I touched it like in its entirety the other night, and I was like, "This is fun. I like it. Yeah. I'm in." Yeah.
Gotham Heights was asking what we thought of Gurman's report that the next iPhone SE would be $500.
Well, that did come down the pike today, and I don't know what it would have been otherwise.
Yeah, what does the SE sell for now?
Yeah. Like
$429 is where it starts. So, yeah.
So it'd be creeping up barely.
It's just that they're starting production of an updated iPhone SE that will be less than $500.
So not 5, but less than 500.
Yeah, so it might be $429 exactly, possibly. Expected to have the AI software. I bet it won't do as much on device, though.
$450. Do I hear $475?
I don't see why it wouldn't just be $429.
$425 or I'm out.
I've always wondered if
no home button. A lot of people like the SE because it's one of the only Apple models that still has the home button.
That still has the home button. I miss the home button. You know, I've learned to, you know, do my thing without it. Where's my phone? Not here right now. But yeah, no, I always liked the home button. It was not something where I was like, ooh, cooler bezel because no home button. I'm like, no, give me the home button. You know,
updated
fingerprint.
version of the Magic Keyboard accessory. Revamped version of the iPad Pro. Yeah, but we're not expecting the new iPhone SE or the new iPads until after the first of the year.
Right.
But Mac Mini, MacBook Pro, and iMac expected this year.
I would really like that announcement to be made immediately.
With an M4 processor.
That's right.
That's what Gurman's saying. He's saying you're going to get a MacBook Air, Mac Studio, and Mac Pro with an M4 chip next year. And you're going to get Mac Pros, iMacs, and Mac Minis with the M4 processor this year.
Huh.
So,
well,
stick that in your M processor and process it.
And hat. And your hat.
So
Never
don't
put a
buy a
hat on
Mac
the processor.
just yet if you're in the market for one.
Well, that, you know, so a friend of
I
mine.
would not buy a MacBook Pro, an iMac, or a Mac Mini right now because that might be announced within the next few weeks, according to Gurman. Anything else, I would just go ahead and buy. Like, why wait?
Friend of mine in town from an area where she's not near an Apple store at all. She was like, you know, I need a new, she has a MacBook Pro. It's very old. I think like circa 2015, something like that. And I want a new Air because I have one. And I'm like, it's great. You know, just get the M1. I mean, it's a great computer. And she, you know, wanted to do that. And I was like, well, you might want to wait until they announce new stuff because even if you don't want the newest thing, you might get a price cut on the thing that you do actually want to buy.
Yeah, right.
And so she was like, oh, man, well, what do I do? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, you could buy something and return it, I suppose.
You can.
But, you know, that's kind of a hassle. Of its own, and yeah, like maybe just wait and see what you get. That's what I'm doing. You know, my poor Mac Mini that I'm, you know, looking at right now. Poor little thing. I mean, this Mac Mini has been a wonderful machine to me, but it's time. It's time. So Apple, let's get it going.
Yeah, we're gonna get something from Apple by the end of this month. So, if you want an iPhone, buy an iPhone. If you want an iPad Pro, you're probably fine with, but maybe just, you know, if you don't need it right away, hold off and see. You're probably not going to get much there. But anything MacBook, Mac Mini, you know, iMac, I think you're fine with Pros too. MacBook Pro and Mac Pro, you can go ahead and get those. Again, unless you're like, oh no, if there's going to be a new one in March, I want to wait till March. Fine. I generally advise people like these are going to last you years. You don't need to worry about getting one and then being upset that there's a new one comes out 6 months later, because there's always a new one comes out 6 months later.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Totally true.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks, everybody, for supporting us. Patreon.com/DTNS. We got George. We got Howard. We got RW. We got Anand Jr. So many folks over there helping us out, keeping us in business. It's Patreon Day, so very much appreciate your pledges as we go into another month. I sent out all the notes with all of the new information that we send out every month. Some people get digital art from Len Peralta at certain levels and stuff like that, so look for that in your inbox. Until tomorrow, everyone, have a good day.
Have a good day,
Internet.
All right, we are still live and direct from here. And we're going to thank all the people on YouTube for watching. Everyone, Tommy included, thank you for watching. Gotham Heights, the Reverb Mike, Raymond. Oh, Reverb Mike's on Twitch, but we still thank you. Speaking of Twitch, let's thank all the folks there. Zoe Brings Bacon, PC Milesy, Rabbit41, cheered us with bits. Rabbit41 also resubscribed for the 48th month with Prime. Thanks, everybody, for supporting us there as well. Shall we go to the showbots?
Yes.
We shall.
Our top vote getter is from Zoe, a very smart Clippy.
Oh, I never understood why everybody hated Clippy so much.
You used to hate Clippy. What are you talking about? You used to be the leader of the hate club of Clippy.
What are you talking about? No, I felt
I used to
like
walk into work at Tech TV, and Sarah's first thing, did you see what that stupid Clippy did today?
No, you have me confused with somebody else. I never hated Clippy. I thought it was kind of silly and stupid, but no,
but not hate.
Yeah. But like, listen, props to Clippy. You were the first smart assistant.
What was the one
The world
before?
was
Bob?
just not ready for you yet.
Microsoft Bob. Yeah.
Came before
Oh,
Clippy.
gosh. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'll say this. If Clippy was I'll say this, that if Clippy was as smart as it is today as it was, or was as smart back then as it is today, I would have. The problem with Clippy it was annoying. It didn't really provide.
Be nice to Roger, Tom.
Didn't provide a very useful set of a group of information.
We got Taking It Back Texas Instrument Days from GPEG84. How do you show your work with AI from Ambassador Domo? Speaking Without Thinking from Moose2271. Chicken Wings Flying to You Soon from Zoe Brings Bacon. Flying Pizzas from Clinton Woodward.
Flying pizzas. That I want that. Pizzas flying through the air.
I don't know if that's... Listen,
that will be the future I want.
I mean, do you want to be scalded by hot mozzarella? Then sure, flying pizzas.
Roger, what'd you pick?
The pizza isn't falling
Copilot's
onto
new
my
tricks from
face.
Raymond.
It's just flying above me.
Thank you, Raymond PH, for Copilot's New Tricks. That is the title of DTNS. We still got to pick GDI, though. Right. No Face ID like home button from Badfink 2001. It's pretty great.
Emily Knievel from Moose 2271.
That's good too. Does hours viewed include falling asleep? Yeah, probably does. Moose.
In my household, 100% Moose. I mean, I don't even watch anything anymore. I put something on and then I fall asleep.
100 Korean chefs walk into a kitchen.
Hilarity ensues.
Everyone likes a true crime.
I like JPEGs. This is CNN trying to resonate. Most popular shows nobody watched.
Dancing with Sarah.
So are we going with Emily Knievel then?
I like it. What about you? Yeah?
Yeah. Works for me.
It's fine. Yes.
Well, there you go, folks. Congrats to Moose2271. You got the GDI title.
Knievel. Oh, boy.
Now you get it.
No, I got it before.
We're going to say goodbye to the Twitch folks who are going to go say hello to Trisha Hirschberger. And goodbye to the YouTube folks, too. Bye, everybody.
Tell that girl Trish we said hello. Bye-bye.